the Honorable Justice A.K. Patnaik, Mr. D.P. Nagendra Kumar, former member for GST at the CIBC, the author of this wonderful book, Mr. Shailendra Kumar, ladies, gentlemen, my friends, thank you very much for inviting me to this very happy occasion and for allowing me to participate with such dignitaries in this book release. I'll start where Justice Patnaik started. When it comes to finance, taxation, the administration of government, surely some things are beyond politics. We all come to public service for the sake of improving the life of citizens. We may have different philosophies or different views of what is optimal, what we think will have the greatest impact or the least cost or the least burden. But the ambition stays the same. And for all those ambitions, whether left or right, whether of one particular party or another, we all agree that raising finances for the government, raising revenues for the government, in a just and equitable way is the basis of all government planning, spending, programs, implementation. It's also beyond debate that of the two types of taxation, direct or indirect, there are profound differences. The direct taxation is usually progressive because we identify who we take it from, we know the means from which they pay, and we implement some form of economic justice by raising the rates and the strata at which we tax. Whereas a lot of indirect action, at least the most of it that we see, indirect taxation, is inherently regressive because they're point of sale taxes. We don't know who we collect it from, and we're very, very sure across the world that the bulk of poorer people's revenue or assets get spent in taxable ways. Poorer people spend a greater part of their assets or income on taxable goods and services than rich people who otherwise do investment or asset management or things like that. So as Justice Patnaik said, if we are interested in fairness, in equity, in optimization, in efficiency, then in India we have some unique kind of scenarios. The first I'll mention in passing, though it's not particularly relevant today. It's very rare to find a country where the first slab of direct taxation starts at 2 or 3 or 5 times the per capita income. Almost any country in the world, the first taxable bracket starts at some fraction of the per capita GDP, not multiples of the per capita GDP. I think that's something we need to ponder when every time we talk about how small the tax base is relative to the population of the country. It's that small because it's designed to be that way. In every country, if you set the first slab at multiples of the national average income, that's exactly what you'll see. But what we're talking about today is the GST. And the GST affects everybody irrespective of income because every single person pays GST in some product or the other that they purchase during the course of their lives. In that sense, though it's only a 5-year scheme, it is ubiquitous and it is all impacting. I think the title of the book says a lot about the content. It is truly about threading the needle. There are no easy choices here, as with much of taxation. It is a question of optimizing in difficult circumstances. But I think the real kind of takeaway is the dedication of the author who has toiled through this without a break, despite getting himself affected by COVID, and by the quality of the work that has come out, the nuance and the kind of neutrality with which subjects are handled as opposed to political or philosophical bias. I don't think it's often that you'll find books on taxation that include references or quotes from singers like Billie Holiday. So I think Krishalendra Kumar certainly is a man of many talents and wide erudition. I think also that this is yeoman work because it's hard for me to think of any other work of this substantive either scale or scope over the last 5 years. Of course, it is typical of the humility of the author that he should also, at this occasion, invite and honor somebody like Thiru Mukesh Patel, who puts us all kind of in the youth category once he says he has done almost 50 years of publication. And those of us who are serving for 2 or 3 or 5 years or written about 5 years. I think the book is a major contribution because at the heart of democracy is debate. We need multiple voices, multiple views to be heard, to engage in informed debates free of invective. Only then we can arrive at optimal solutions. And in politics, it's important to have a philosophy, a view of the world. Opportunism, people switch parties, do many things. At least for some of us, we come to politics with a core ideology, a reason why we do what we do. But even that, I would say that till you deliver results, all philosophies are relatively to be evaluated with the same kind of smell test. Only when we deliver outcomes do we really get to validate whether our philosophy that drove our planning, our strategies, our schemes, our laws actually have been of impact and help to the people. In that sense, when you take something like the GST, we may have many different views of its kind of scope, its ambition, its design, its execution. But very often in life, it's not the decision that you make that is the most important thing. It's what you do after you make that decision and how well you implement that system, how well you follow through on that decision, and whether you deliver the outcomes for it. In that sense, I would say that my great concern about the GST running till today, I may have many different perspectives on whether it was well designed, whether it was over ambitious, whether it was of the right scope, whether it was executed properly on the first day. All that aside, we are where we are today. Today, are we dedicating the right amount of resources, human and in terms of technology and analytics? Are we moving this to its best possible state? I have sincere concerns about that, right? If you look at how often the council meets or how committees deliver reports and what timing we get to, I must say there's a lot of room for improvement, relative at least to the professional career that I came from. Don't get me wrong. I say the council functions with full decorum. I say that everybody comes to the council informed and debates happen in a meaningful manner. I have no political or kind of personal complaints about how the GST Council functions, but I do think that we could be implementing this a lot better with a lot more resources and a lot more diligence and attention than we spend today. For example, the Council is supposed to meet every 3 months, but it doesn't. For example, there are many groups of ministers or subcommittees which have been formed that are not quite executing or in fact meeting when they should. So I won't go too far down that path. I see my time is coming to an end. Let me just congratulate again Krishalendra Kumar. I think this is yeoman work. I think GST will continue to be at the core of our discussions about fairness, about revenue management, about equity. And in that sense, I look forward very much to the ongoing debates that should ensue out of this very readable and very useful book. And I congratulate him again and I thank all of you. Thank you.
சேனல் சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க. பெல் பட்டனை